you could tell that they kind of they didn't have any purpose for half the characters later on.
Kind of like in the second game.
Well, even worse, like they realized after the second game that they had like got themselves in a clusterfuck of characters, and so they couldn't do anything about it. And they're like, "Well, what are we gonna do with all these?"
They have no idea which ones are gonna be alive.
Yeah, so they're like, "What are we gonna do?" Because we're going on the assumption that someone, someone played through the playthrough and saved everybody, so everybody's alive. So how the fuck are we gonna deal with this at the very end of the game? Because we're not gonna have a squad selection screen that's like 20 people large. So they were just like, "What if we just put people on your ship who were previously in the game, but you can't play with them?"
What?
And I'm like, "So why are they here?" And they're like,
What?
"Well, later they're going to help you on a mission." I'm like, "Okay, but then they're going to die because that way we can get rid of them." And I'm like, "So why are they here again?" And it's like, because we don't have any story, we don't have any depth to these characters anymore. We like just ran out of it. So we're just going to kill them off, but you're going to get to see them before they die. And I'm like, that doesn't make me feel better. Like,
oh man.
like the worst part is like right now, where I'm at right now is I just met Legion again, and I'm like, "Oh,
no.
Legion, that's awesome. I like Legion. What's up?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not actually Legion. I'm like a holographic representation of Legion who was rebuilt to look like Legion, but I'm still something. So I can't be in your crew because I don't have memories of being with you, Commander Shepard." I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with this? Like, where's Legion?" And it's like, Legion doesn't exist. We are Geth or something. And I'm like, "Okay, I guess, fine." And
they wrote themselves into such a creative corner.
yeah, and like I saw Morty
to be
again.
fair, that is kind of how a lot of trilogies work in general. Like when you hit the Lord of the Rings movies, the last one is a clusterfuck of characters, and they just all start dying.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but they do it in style.
Well, a movie doesn't have to draw the distinction between what characters are and aren't playable in your party.
that's true.
That's true.
You don't get
They're
that
just
feeling.
there, and they're getting stabbed and shit.
And later they added this feature like okay, the best way I can compare it is to, you remember Fable 3? How
No, because I didn't even touch it.
I'm worried that just the fact that you're bringing up
Okay.
Fable 3 and the Mass
do you remember in Fable 3 where they said like in order to save the world we need to have this much gold?
What?
Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, they're at the very end. You haven't played it then, Ben.
One thing really to save the world is like it was just if you want to save people.
But yeah, basically
No,
if
I'm
you
saying
want
no, like no in disbelief. Like
Oh,
how
it-
could
like-
that be a plot?
yeah, as
That's
in
part
like
of the whole like galactic readiness thing, right?
yeah, it's war strength. That's what they call it. They call it war strength. And it's the most vague and obscure thing to ever enter my field of vision for Mass Effect because there's no way of understanding how to get war strength and how valuable said war strength is. There's no comparison to it. Like, it doesn't say the Normandy itself is like 10 war strength, so you just got 300 war strength, and you're like, that's awesome. It just says like, hey, you did this cool mission and people like you. You got 50 war strength. And I'm like, what does that mean? So if I piss someone off, I would get only 25 war strength? Or would I get no war
It's the
strength?
sort of nebulous army building thing that they also had in like in the form of like Mass Effect 2's ship upgrading system and the original Dragon Ages thing where you're going from place to place getting people to join your army to do the big final fight, basically.
Sounds like they took out mini games and replaced it with gimmicks. Hooray!
Yeah,
Not
and
even, it's almost like a giant progress bar in a way.
it is.
God.
And so I don't understand it because they have war strength. And so based on what you do, you earn war strength from people. But then you also earn... you're also working on this side project that's like something to do with like some powerful weapon to fight the Reapers. And so you're trying to build this weapon, and you're also trying to collect war strength at the same time, so that way when the weapon's done, you can use your war strength to fight the Reapers. But they don't. But when you do certain actions, it also affects how fast the weapon is built. So they do like. So you'll do a mission, you're like, okay, well, I met this thing, and, I could either kill it or I could keep it alive. But you don't know the repercussions of keeping it alive or dead, or, like, keeping it alive or killing it until after you've made the decision. So you can't even guesstimate, like, okay, if I keep it alive, will it give me war strength, or will it help out for this other situation? And if so, how much benefit will it be versus how much would it affect me if I just let it die? And it just seems like it's like this very vague and obscure addition to the game. It's like there's no sense of urgency with it either. So I don't feel like because like half the game it was like your war strength is below minimum. I'm like, okay, but I didn't feel an urgency like I need to get this done because if we don't do war strength within 30 days, the Reapers are coming. It's just like, hey, you're this war strength thing. If you want to go and save Earth, you can do it. But right now, there's other stuff to do, so don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. So it's like it's a little side project I'm working on where it's like I'm slowly trying to help Earth, not be destroyed by Reapers. But I'm also trying to cruise around the galaxy because I just can do that, and there's no.
I wonder if there's consequences for not going right away and for delaying more and more.
Oh, well, I'm sure there is.
I remember there being something like that in Mass Effect 2, where you could keep building up your ship strengths and going around mining everything and doing side quests and so on and so forth, but after a certain point in the game, when a certain plot point happens, if you keep doing other stuff before going on to the final mission, when you get to the final mission, more and more of your crew has been killed by the, meat grinder thing that you read into. And then, including one person that could be, a potential love interest character, could just get, grinded up into sausages and shit if you take too long to go there.
Wow. It doesn't, right now, I can't
you remember Kelly Chambers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see her get grinded up in that little glass chamber that you ran up to.
Oh, damn!
If you take too long and do too many side quests after a certain point in the story when you're supposed to be going to save them and everything, if you wait too long, then more and more people get killed when you arrive there, including her potentially.
Well, that's weird. Yeah, in this, there's you can't go save Earth. There's not even an option to go to Earth. You're kind of just doing your thing, and then as you go along, it just goes you've got war strength, you're building this machine now, and then you'll get emails from some dude every so often who'll be like, hey, thanks for doing this mission. You made
you
it.
get spam mail.
You're oh my god, you get. I got 4 emails in rapid session about 6 people wanting to meet me on the Citadel, and where I needed to go, and I got 2 of them were from crew members, 2 of them were from these obscure people, and they're like, hey, we need to go to the Citadel so I can talk to you here. And I'm like, well, okay. And the other ones were like, hey, I have a mission for you, come to the Citadel here. And I'm like, okay. But then when I get to the Citadel, I realized I don't remember where I was supposed to go. So I was like, well, how can I remember? And I go to my journal and it doesn't have anything for it. And I'm like, oh shit, so I don't have a mission for it because it's just an email. How do I check my email? It's you can check your email in the Normandy. I'm this is supposed to be 2035, and I can't check email on my Omni-Tool. This is the fucking worst, worst future ever.
Omni-Tool, that's a sword, by the way, but not an email checker.
Yeah, it does everything. I can bring up, codexes from history long ago, or I can read my journal. I can, save my game. I can check my equipment. I can't check my email. My email is just too much for it. It just can't do the function. And I'm like, god damn it. And so then I have to run around the Presidium just pressing the M button for map and hoping that I can find the people's names on the map and being okay, there's that person, I should go meet them. And I'm this is so fucking annoying, but
it all just reminds me of my dad getting his first smartphone and not being able to figure out how to actually use the phone part of the smartphone.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the Omni-Tool's now a sword. It's one of the most stupidest weapons to ever use in the game.
Oh, really?
Because it's if you're gonna be close enough to an enemy to hit him with it, they're gonna fucking kill you. There's not an enemy in the game I've run into so far where it's hey, use your Omni-Tool and slice him. I'm okay. I'll do it just because I'm being a dick and just running out and killing the last guy. But there's never a tactical reason to use your Omni-Tool sword.
It's a gratuity thing. It's for self gratification.
But the worst part is it's actually a chart, or it's actually a section on your what is it? Your leveling section. You can actually level up your Omni-Tool sword. I'm who fucking uses melee? Who's running through a Geth invasion going Geth melee? I mean, it's no one's hacking and slashing through Cerberus and Geth and Husks. No one does that because it doesn't do shit. Even if you upgrade it, it's there's such a delay on using it that you're gonna get fucking killed by the time you're done doing your fancy cutting move.
It's kind of like in Shadows of the Damned, where you could have the crazy, ridiculous machine gun where every individual bullet can home in on people, or you could upgrade your melee.
Yeah. It reminds me more of Bulletstorm, where you can shoot your sniper rifle, and every time you shoot your sniper rifle, everything goes into slow motion. And you have to guide the bullet, and I'm this is the fucking worst thing ever. I just want to shoot somebody in the face. Why is it so difficult now? I shoot it, it's slow motion, and then suddenly they know where the bullet's coming from, and they can dodge it almost immediately. And I'm this is fucking awesome.